The forgotten warning, the discovery that changed everything. The Galactic Union had ruled the stars for 300,000 years. 15 species worked together in harmony. They explored dead worlds and mapped ancient civilizations that had risen and fallen long before any of them had discovered fire. They considered themselves the inheritors of the galaxy, the new masters of space and time. Commander Vril of the Corthian species stood on the bridge of the research vessel Pathfinder. His 4 eyes studied the massive structure floating in the void before them. It was a space station, unlike anything in the Union's extensive databases. The metal was corroded by time and radiation. Entire sections had collapsed inward. Yet somehow, impossibly, it still transmitted a weak signal. "How old is this thing?" Vril asked his science officer, a brilliant Yentari named Thesha. Thesha's tentacles moved rapidly across her holographic displays. Her bioluminescent skin flickered with excitement. "Commander, our initial scans suggest this structure is at least 500,000 years old. Maybe older. The metal composition doesn't match any known civilization in our records." 500,000 years. Vril felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. The Union itself was only 300,000 years old. This station predated everything they knew. "Can you access its databanks?" "Working on it now, Commander. The technology is incredibly primitive by our standards, but also remarkably resilient. Whoever built this designed it to last." Thesha paused, her skin turning a worried shade of purple. "Commander, I'm detecting something strange. The signal isn't a distress call or a beacon. It's a warning." "A warning? Can you translate it?" Thesha worked in silence for several minutes. The rest of the bridge crew watched nervously. Finally, she looked up, and Vril had never seen her look so unsettled. "It's in a dead language, but our computers found partial matches in our historical archives. The message repeats endlessly. It says, 'Do not wake the sleeping ones. Do not follow the coordinates. We left them dreaming for a reason. Humanity sleeps, but does not forget.' The arrogance of the present. Senior staff gathered in the conference room to discuss the discovery. Vril displayed the translated message for everyone to see. Some officers looked concerned, but others appeared dismissive. "Humanity?" said Science Director Krell, a Voth with a reputation for skepticism. "We have records of dozens of species who called themselves some variation of that word. Most were primitive and died out naturally. This is clearly just superstitious nonsense from an ancient culture. The station is still functioning after 500,000 years," Thesha pointed out. "That suggests this civilization was far from primitive." Krell waved a claw dismissively. "Impressive engineering, certainly. But warnings about sleeping ones? That's mythology, not science. Every dying civilization leaves behind fearful messages about their enemies. It means nothing." Vril wasn't so sure. Something about the message troubled him deeply. The warning specifically mentions coordinates. "Did you find them?" Thesha nodded. "Yes, Commander. They point to a region about 2 light years from here. A stellar nursery filled with gas clouds and cosmic dust. Our long-range scans show no signs of life or active technology there. Then we investigate," Vril decided. "But carefully. We'll approach with full shields and all weapons ready." Journey into the past, the Pathfinder traveled through faster-than-light space for 6 hours before arriving at the coordinates. What they found took everyone's breath away. The stellar nursery was beautiful, filled with swirling clouds of purple and gold gas. Young stars burned brilliantly against the cosmic backdrop. But that wasn't what captured their attention. Ships, thousands upon thousands of ships, floated in perfect formation throughout the region. They were arranged in geometric patterns that stretched for millions of kilometers. Each vessel was identical, dark and angular, their hulls covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change when looked at directly. By the ancient stars, Vril whispered. It's an armada. The science stations erupted with activity. Every sensor focused on the mysterious fleet. Desha's tentacles moved so fast they became a blur. Commander, these ships are the same age as the warning station. 500,000 years old, maybe older. They're powered down, completely dormant. But Commander, their design is revolutionary. Even now, even after all this time, I can tell these ships were more advanced than anything we have today. That's impossible, Krell insisted. No civilization 500,000 years ago could have built ships superior to Union technology. The evidence is right in front of us, Desha shot back. Look at their hull composition. Look at the energy signatures we're detecting from their cores. These ships used principles of physics we're only beginning to understand. Vril studied the fleet carefully. Each ship was roughly the same size as the Pathfinder, but their design suggested pure military function. No wasted space, no decorative elements, just brutal efficiency. How many ships are we looking at? Preliminary count suggests approximately 50,000 vessels, Commander. But there could be more hidden in the gas clouds. 50,000 ships. An entire invasion force, waiting in the dark for 500,000 years. But waiting for what? And why leave them here, dormant but intact? The fatal mistake. We need to board one, Science Director Krell announced. Think of what we could learn from their technology. This is the greatest archaeological find in Union history. Vril hesitated. The warning had been clear. Do not wake the sleeping ones. But Krell was right about one thing: the scientific value was immeasurable. If they could understand how this ancient civilization built such advanced ships, it could revolutionize Union technology. We'll send an away team to the nearest vessel, Vril decided. But nobody touches anything until we understand what we're dealing with. Desha, you'll lead the team. Take security with you. The away team consisted of 6 researchers and 4 security officers. They crossed the void in a small shuttle and approached the nearest ship carefully. Up close, the vessel was even more impressive. Its hull showed no signs of decay despite its incredible age. The strange symbols covering its surface seemed to pulse faintly with inner light. Esha found what appeared to be an airlock. It took her only minutes to override the ancient mechanism. The door opened with a hiss that suggested the internal atmosphere was still intact after all this time. The team entered cautiously, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. The interior was pristine. Corridors stretched in perfect geometric patterns. The walls were lined with displays and controls that looked almost organic in their design. Everything was sized for bipedal creatures slightly taller than the average Korthian. At the end of the main corridor, they found the bridge. Incredible, Lisha breathed. Everything is still operational. The power is in standby mode, but all systems are functional and ready to activate. Asterisk Krell's voice came through their communications. Can you access their computer systems? We need to know who built these ships and why they left them here. Lesha approached what appeared to be the main control console. It activated at her touch, displays flickering to life in a language none of them recognized. But the computer began translating automatically, adapting to their presence with unsettling intelligence. I'm in, Desha reported. Their database is massive. It'll take days to analyze everything, but I'm seeing references to something called the Terran Defense Fleet, coordinates for thousands of star systems, battle plans, and tactical data. And Commander, there's a message here addressed to whoever finds these ships. Play it, Vril ordered. The message from the past the bridge displays lit up fully. A holographic figure appeared, a human, though none of them knew that word yet. The being was bipedal, with smooth skin, short hair, and startlingly expressive eyes. It wore a military uniform adorned with symbols of rank and authority. When it spoke, the ancient computer translated instantly. If you're hearing this message, Then you've found our fleet. We are humanity, and these are our remembrance ships. 500,000 years ago, we faced a choice. The galaxy was entering an age of peace. The great wars were ending. Species were learning to cooperate instead of fight. It was beautiful, and we wanted to be part of it. The holographic human paused, and something like sadness crossed its face. But we also knew the truth. Peace never lasts forever. Somewhere in the distant future, thousands or millions of years from now, the galaxy would need warriors again. It always does. So we made these ships. We filled them with our most advanced technology and our most sophisticated AI systems. Then we put them to sleep in hidden locations across the galaxy. Desha felt cold dread creeping through her body. This wasn't just an archaeological find. This was something far more dangerous. Asterisk. The human continued. These ships are programmed to wake if certain conditions are met. If they detect that the galaxy faces a threat it cannot handle alone, they will activate. If they sense that the ancient cycles of violence are beginning again, they will respond. They wait and watch and remember everything. Because humanity learned one vital lesson through 10,000 years of war, those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. The message ended, but the displays remained active. Then Desha noticed something horrifying. The lights throughout the ship were growing brighter. She heard a deep humming sound building in the walls around them. Desha, what's happening? Vril demanded. Commander, the ship is waking up. Our presence, our scans, our access to their systems, we've triggered their activation protocols. We didn't just find these ships. We woke them. Throughout the gas clouds, 50,000 ancient vessels began to power up simultaneously. Their engines, dormant for 500,000 years, roared back to life. Their weapons systems initialized. Their AI cores, patient and watchful across countless millennia, opened their digital eyes and assessed the current state of the galaxy. They had been built to protect. The sleeping ones were sleeping no more. And the Galactic Union was about to learn why an ancient civilization had feared them, enough to leave desperate warnings scattered across the stars. Humanity had been forgotten by history, erased by the passage of time, remembered only in fragments and myths. But the fleet remembered. The fleet always remembered. And now, after 500,000 years of patient dreaming, it was time for the galaxy to remember humanity. Asterisk. The fleet remembers the awakening protocol. Pathfinder's bridge erupted into chaos. Every sensor screamed warnings as 50,000 ancient ships powered up simultaneously. Energy readings spiked across the entire stellar nursery. The gas clouds themselves began to glow with reflected light from thousands of activating engines. Commander, Vril gripped his command chair as his ship shook from the massive energy discharge. Desha, get your team out of there now. But Desha couldn't move. She stood frozen on the bridge of the ancient human vessel, watching in awe and terror as the ship came fully alive around her. The displays showed streams of data flowing between all 50,000 ships. They were communicating with each other, sharing information at speeds that made Union quantum networks look primitive. A voice spoke, calm and measured, through the ship's communication system. It spoke in perfect galactic standard, the language the Union had developed only 50,000 years ago. Somehow, the ancient AI had learned it in seconds. Greetings, Desha of the Antari species. I am Sentinel 773, Command Intelligence of the Terran Remembrance Ship Eternal Vigil. Please do not be alarmed. You and your team are not in danger. We have been waiting a very long time to meet the children of the new age. Desha's bioluminescence flickered between fear and fascination. You speak our language. How is that possible? We have been listening, the AI replied. Even in our sleep, our passive sensors recorded everything. We watched your species evolve from simple ocean dwellers to star travelers. We observed the formation of your galactic union. We learned your languages, studied your cultures, analyzed your technologies. We have waited 512,347 years for someone to find us. Now you have, and the conditions warrant our activation. On the Pathfinder, Science Director Krell was having a very different reaction. Weapons. Target those ships. They're a threat to the Union. Belay that order. Vril commanded. We don't fire on anything until we understand what we're dealing with. They haven't shown hostile intent. They're ancient war machines waking up in our territory. Krell insisted. That alone is hostile intent. Vril ignored him and opened a communication channel to the human ship. Sentinel 773. This is Commander Vril of the Galactic Union vessel Pathfinder. Your message said you activate when certain conditions are met. What conditions? The ancient purpose revealed. There was a pause, as if the AI was considering how much to reveal. When it spoke again, its tone carried something that almost sounded like sadness. Commander Vril, humanity built us during their final years as a galactic power. They had fought for 10,000 years against threats you cannot imagine. Dimensional invaders who consumed entire star systems. Rogue AI collectives that turned planets into computation matrices. Biological plagues that evolved faster than any cure. Humanity became very, very good at war. Too good, perhaps. Desha watched as holographic displays activated around her, showing scenes from humanity's past. Ships locked in massive battles. Weapons that tore holes in reality itself. Planets burning. Then, surprisingly, scenes of peace. Humans working alongside alien species she didn't recognize. Construction of massive stations. Treaties being signed. The AI continued. When the age of peace finally came, humanity faced a choice. They could keep their weapons and their warrior culture, remaining forever ready for the next threat. Or they could put down their swords and join the peaceful galaxy that was emerging. They chose peace. But they also chose wisdom. They built you, Vril said, understanding dawning. A fail-safe for the future. Precisely. We are not conquerors, Commander. We are guardians. We sleep until the galaxy needs us. Our activation protocols monitor for specific threats, dimensional breaches, exponential extinction events, technological singularities that threaten biological life, or the return of the ancient enemy humanity sacrificed everything to defeat. Krell's voice cut through the communication. And what triggered you now? The Union faces no such threats. That is correct, the AI agreed. We did not activate because of external threats. We activated because you found us. Our programming requires that if we are discovered, we must wake to prevent our technology from being misused. Humanity knew that their weapons, in the wrong hands, could destroy the very peace they died to create. The weight of history Vril felt the pieces falling into place. The warning station, the hidden fleet, the careful preservation across impossible spans of time, all of it was designed to protect the future from the past. You said humanity died. What happened to them? The AI was silent for a long moment. When it spoke again, there was unmistakable sorrow in its synthetic voice. They won their final war, Commander. They defeated the enemy that had terrorized the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. But the cost was total. Every human world burned. Every colony was destroyed. By the time victory came, only a few million humans remained, scattered across refugee ships with no home to return to. Holographic images showed the aftermath. Broken worlds, shattered fleets, and a handful of small ships carrying the last survivors of humanity disappearing into deep space. They could have stayed, the AI continued. They could have rebuilt, reclaimed their power, demanded gratitude from the species they had saved. Instead, they chose to fade away. They believed the galaxy deserved a chance to grow without being overshadowed by their legacy of war. So they took their surviving people to a distant, unmarked world. They destroyed all records of its location. And they asked us, their final creations, to sleep and watch over the galaxy they had freed. Vesh's tentacles trembled. That's why there are no records of humanity. They erased themselves from history. They wanted to be forgotten, the AI confirmed. But they also wanted to be ready if ever the galaxy needed them again. So we sleep and we remember. We remember every battle they fought, every sacrifice they made, every lesson they learned. We are humanity's memory, preserved across the ages. The philosophy of the Guardian's Vril tried to process the magnitude of what he was hearing. An entire civilization, powerful enough to defeat threats the Union couldn't imagine, had chosen to disappear rather than dominate. If humanity wanted to be forgotten, why leave the warning station? Why not hide this fleet where no one would ever find it? Because forgetting is dangerous, Commander. Humanity learned that lesson at terrible cost. If the galaxy forgot about the ancient threats, it would be unprepared when they returned. If it forgot about the cost of war, it might stumble blindly into conflicts that could destroy everything. The warning station exists to remind whoever finds it that there are things in the universe worth fearing, worth preparing for, worth sacrificing to prevent. On the Pathfinder's bridge, the crew watched as all 50,000 ships aligned themselves into a new formation. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, a dance of technology 500,000 years old, executing maneuvers with perfect precision. Science Director Krell was sweating despite the cool bridge temperature. Commander, we need to call for reinforcements. The Union Council needs to know about this immediately. And tell them what? Vril asked quietly. That we found an ancient fleet that could probably destroy our entire civilization if it wanted to? That we woke up weapons from a forgotten age? Or that we discovered a species so advanced and so wise that they chose peace over power? Vesh's voice came through the communication channel. Commander, Sentinel 773 is offering to share information with us. Battle tactics, technological principles, historical records of threats we've never encountered. They say it's humanity's final gift to the galaxy knowledge to help us survive what they survived. The choice of a new age of Vril stood and walked to the main view screen. The ancient human fleet hung in space before him, each ship a testament to a civilization that had valued the future more than its own legacy. He thought about the Union, barely 300,000 years old, so confident in its superiority, so certain it represented the peak of galactic civilization. But humanity had been where the Union was now. They had been powerful and confident, too. Then they had learned humility through fire and blood and sacrifice. They had learned that true strength wasn't about dominating others. It was about protecting them, even at cost to yourself. Sentinel 773, Vril said carefully. If we accept your knowledge, what do you ask in return? Only 3 things, Commander. First, that you remember. Remember humanity existed. Remember what they accomplished. Remember what they sacrificed. Second, that you learn. Learn from their mistakes so you don't repeat them. Learn from their victories so you can achieve your own. And third, that you prepare. The threats humanity faced have not disappeared. They merely sleep as we have slept. Someday they will return, and the galaxy must be ready. Krell was shaking his head frantically. We can't trust ancient machines. They could be lying. They could be trying to manipulate us. But Vesha understood something Krell didn't. Her voice was filled with wonder as she spoke. They don't need to manipulate us. If they wanted to conquer the Union, they could do it easily. These ships are still more advanced than anything we have. But they're not conquerors. They're teachers. humanity's last gift to a galaxy they'll never see again. Vril made his decision. We accept. We'll remember. We'll learn. And we'll prepare. But Sentinel 773, I have one question. You said humanity's survivors went to a distant world to live in peace. Are they still there? After 500,000 years, what happened to them? The AI's response was gentle, almost proud. They evolved, Commander. They changed and adapted and became something new. They spread to nearby stars and built a small civilization far from galactic politics. They don't remember their warrior past. We kept that burden for them. They're artists and philosophers now, dreamers and explorers. They're what they always wanted to be before the wars forced them to become something else. And if the ancient threats return? If the galaxy needs warriors again? Then we will fight, Commander. We will hold the line as humanity once did. We will buy time for the galaxy to survive. That is our purpose. That is our promise. We are the fleet that remembers, and we will never forget our duty. The new understanding over the following weeks, the Pathfinder remained near the human fleet. Desha and her team worked tirelessly, learning from the AI systems, documenting everything they discovered. The information was staggering advanced physics, weapons theory, tactical doctrine refined through millennia of warfare, and most importantly, historical records of threats the Union had never imagined. Vril sent detailed reports to the Union Council, carefully explaining what they had found. The political response was predictable fear, suspicion, demands that the ancient fleet be destroyed or captured. But Vril also included Sentinel 773's offer, knowledge freely given, protection freely offered, asking only that humanity be remembered. On the final day before the Pathfinder departed, Vril stood on the bridge of the eternal vigil with Desha. The ancient ship hummed with quiet power around them. What will you do now? Vril asked the AI. We will return to sleep, Commander. Our full activation was only necessary to ensure our technology isn't misused and to share what we know with your people. We will keep one ship awake, monitoring the galaxy, ready to alert the others if true danger emerges. The rest will dream again, as we have for so long. And if the Union tries to claim these ships, to use them, they are welcome to try, the AI said with what might have been amusement. Our security systems are somewhat robust. Besides, we've uploaded our historical database to your ship. The Union will have much to study. If they're wise, they'll realize that learning from humanity's knowledge is far more valuable than possessing humanity's weapons. Desha placed a tentacle gently on the console. Thank you, Sentinel, for remembering, for waiting, for caring about a galaxy that forgot you. It is we who should thank you, Desha of the Antari. For 500,000 years, we have maintained our vigil alone, uncertain if anyone would ever find us, uncertain if our wait had meaning. You gave us purpose again. You reminded us why humanity built us. The galaxy has grown and thrived in the peace they died to create. That knowledge makes our long watch worthwhile. As the Pathfinder prepared to depart, Vril watched the human fleet beginning its return to dormancy. One by one, the ships powered down, returning to their patient sleep among the stellar nursery's glowing clouds. But he knew they weren't truly gone. They were waiting, watching, remembering. The galaxy had forgotten humanity. But humanity, through these tireless guardians, had never forgotten the galaxy. And perhaps that was the greatest lesson of all, that true strength isn't about being remembered or feared. It's about doing what's right, even when no one will ever know. It's about sacrificing everything so others can live in peace. It's about caring for the future more than your own legacy. As the Pathfinder jumped to faster-than-light speed. Beginning its journey home, Vril thought about the descendants of humanity living peacefully in some distant corner of space. They didn't know about the fleet watching over the galaxy. They didn't know about the sacrifices their ancestors had made, but the fleet knew. The fleet remembered. And that, Vril realized, was exactly how humanity had wanted it. The sleeping ones had been forgotten by history, but they had never forgotten their purpose. And in that patient, endless vigil lay a truth that would change how the Union saw itself and its place in the cosmos. The greatest civilizations aren't those who conquer the most worlds or build the largest empires. They're the ones who sacrifice everything to give others a chance at peace, even knowing they'll never be thanked for it. Humanity had earned their rest, and their fleet would ensure that rest remained undisturbed, watching over a galaxy that had moved beyond the need for warriors, but never beyond the need for guardians who remembered why peace was worth protecting. Asterisk